Good evening, everybody. How is everyone tonight? If you can hear me, can I get a yes in the chat, please? A cold LOL laugh. Well, that's good enough. Okay, yes. Welcome, everybody. There we go. We got a lot of yeses. Perfect. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes here. I'm just waiting on Megan to have some fun with the culture of Panama, which it is, yes, very different. And for all you guys here that experience winter, trust me, we know we have a tour starting tomorrow. And out of all of our guests, almost half of them flights were delayed, but they're all getting here, and which is all good. So, whenever you have Florida and Houston go down in the network of traveling to Panama, you're going to have a challenge. Mm-hmm. But it's no snow here, so that's good. Hey, Dodie and Richard, I just saw you guys. How are you? Ruth and Harvey, how are you guys? Someone's name is Frosty. That's very fitting. Hey, Joyce. Almost saw you last night, but not quite. Kevin and Mary, how are you? Hello, Angela from Huntsville, Alabama. It is Megan.
Hello.
Hello. How are we, Megan?
We're good. I finally have Wi-Fi at my new house.
You have Wi-Fi and a built-in babysitter. We're gonna have to keep that woman.
That's right. Life is good.
Yeah. And that wasn't a rude comment I just made. Megan's mother is visiting. And she wants Noah all to herself. Yes, Megan, please go away.
It's true. Yeah, my parents are still back in Pennsylvania, but little by little, we're convincing them to spend more time here.
Yeah. Hey, Kenneth, how are you doing? I am fine. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Gotta get down here, Debbie. 22 degrees. Hey, Debbie, it's 22 degrees Celsius here right now. I walked past my weather station. It's like 22 Celsius, 73 degrees. Of course, that's Boquete, so it's cooler than most of Panama.
Yeah, this is my mom's first time here in January, and she said, "Oh, it's chilly."
Yeah, chilly. Yeah, today was a beautiful sunny day. Light wind.
Nice. But compared to the rest of the year, December, January is just a tad chillier in Boquete.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right on. So we are going to begin. Megan, you're coming in again?
Just so that I can look at the chat easier from my laptop.
Oh, okay, perfect. I didn't know if that was maybe Oscar using your account. No. Okay, folks, what we're going to do today is talk about the culture and some adjustments you people that are thinking about moving here may have to make if Panama is going to be your happy place. Happy expat in Panama, right, Megan?
That's right.
Now, some of you guys, we're going to do a little short presentation, and what we're going to introduce ourselves and who we are, and there's a lot of people on here now, and we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. People might not know exactly who we are, and we're missing one, but he's working. Oscar, the tour leader, business partner, the boss, I call him every time we have a tour, of course. He is my boss. He is on tour today. So, but we're gonna talk about the culture. But any of you folks, I've seen a few of you here that have lived here a while. I want you to come on a bit later and tell us what was your biggest defining cultural moment. And I'm thinking about the people like Ellen. So be prepared. Hey, Carter, Who else lives there? What you can do, in case I don't know, not now. When I ask, which will be in about 15 minutes or so, you'll type the word live in the chat, and then I can bring you on live. So that way you can go, comb your hair, do all the stuff I do before I go live. And Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So
Focus
I
a little
am
more on how you became our original cultural advisor to the company, even before you officially joined.
right. Yeah, so I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Graduating from Penn State, I applied to the Peace Corps. I'd always dreamed of going in the Peace Corps and living somewhere else and doing some community development projects. And I found myself here in Panama. So I originally lived in really small communities all over Panama. And along with doing a cultural training with the Peace Corps, and so a lot of interesting experiences came with that. I think anybody who has moved to a new country, especially, but I'm sure it happens, tourists on vacation too, but you have these mishaps and faux pas that happen because you just don't know what is normal in this new country. So you make a fool of yourself sometimes. You learn to laugh at yourself a lot, especially if you're learning a new language. Um, and so my 2 years in the Peace Corps, I did that a lot. But in that time, I also got to learn Spanish and local Panamanian Spanish really well. I got to learn how to make local dishes, plant food, get into the local schools and see how the school system is here, and learn a lot about the culture. So, yeah, I had a little bit unique experience coming into Panama than I think most expats. Um, and now I live in Boquete. I met Oscar in my second year of Peace Corps, and by the end of my second year, I said, okay, well, let me move down here and see how this goes. And now we're married and we have a 2-year-old, and started working with Oscar and Rod in Retire in Panama. And now I help all of our guests who come on tour with us get ready for the tour, make sure they're prepared to come, and that the tour runs smoothly. So that's my role. And when you're here in Boquete, I love to meet our new expats too.
Right on. Your intros are becoming as long as Oscars, but anyway. But that's
Well,
right.
that was my cultural twist intro.
That's right. My name is Rod, and I'm from Vancouver, Canada. So North American who knew, honestly, I knew less about Panama than anyone could have. And I picked it because I was a digital marketer and it was in my North American time zone, and I could continue my job and pay less taxes. That's really why I picked it. I didn't pick it for its weather, for its culture, for its, anything. I picked it because I could save a whack on taxes, being from North America and Panama having a tax structure. So the culture kind of whacked me upside the head as soon as I got here because I didn't know what to expect. And I just learned one thing in life. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. And I just, learned to accept more than fight. And I think that's why it became successful for me. Like, this is my forever home. I got no. Now, when I go back to North America, it seems weird. Like, I'm not as comfortable there anymore. And that is, everything about the way people do things and the way, like we're going to talk about it a bit, the way everyone greets each other when they walk down the street, as opposed to North America, where they will cross the road if they're coming up to you on the same sidewalk. So, there's lots of stuff like that. But anyways, in my first 3 months, I met Oscar, who was already here in Panama helping expats move here. This was in 2012 is when I moved down here. So this is many, many moons ago. And then at Oscar, I got in some trouble doing it on my own. I had no idea what I was doing. I had money flying here and here, and a lot of wrong advice. And Oscar basically saved my butt, got me on the right track, got me to all the professionals that could actually help me without ripping me off. And within 6 months, I was, had my immigration started. I had my driver's license, had my vehicle and properly titled, all that stuff. I was good. And we became business partners. Well, we became friends, but we just knew we wanted to do something in business together. So we bought a small little tour company here in Panama. So here, up here in Boquete, and we did everything from zip line tours to waterfall hikes to coffee tours, stuff like that. But what we found out, we had a business on Main Street. What we found out, what we really enjoyed is when new expats walked in off the street and asked for help because they also did it on their own and now they were in trouble, or people just needed assistance. How do I get my driver's license? Oh, you mean you're driving without one now? Yes. Or how do I, I need, like, what visa should I get? So our company went from tours to private relocation services. And it was just a few years later that we started this company, Retire in Panama, and with small group tours. And that's what we do now. We do 7-day cross-country small group tours, and we do 3-day Cherokee Highlands group tours. Those are for people typically that have been here already, or they know they want this climate, or they've done enough research. They know they just want Boquete, Volcan, and all these towns around here. So that's what we do. So I am going to end this screen, and I'm going to bring up, Megan hasn't even seen this yet. This is how I like to do things. But I'm going to bring up a slideshow. Megan wrote most of this, but she doesn't know which questions I put up there. And I'm going to bring it up, Megan, and you're going to explain it to me in more detail. Okay, so I will read it, and you're going to explain it to me. Okay.
I wrote this article back when I was in the Peace Corps, so some things might be a little bit more specific to, like, if you're in the countryside versus if you're in a big city in Panama, but we'll go through and explain.
Yeah, well, you can point that out. Now, this here, I found out the first night, car horns aren't just for safety, definitely, or you're like, they're all over. What is the thing there, Megan? What is it?
They just use it to say hi. If you see anybody you know on the street or a car passing when you're in a car, you honk. You honk and yell out the window, and they honk back.
Go by the house. Like, people honk when they go by the house. I recognize
they probably know you, and they're just saying hi, Rob.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yeah, what's number 2? Silence in a social setting is totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And because sometimes the social events go so long, like I learned you don't show up on time. Most people will show up an hour later to the social event. And this isn't always true, but it is more common. And it will go all night. And so you can't talk for 8 hours to people. I mean, you get tired. So people are just sitting, watching, hanging out. Don't need to be talking the whole time.
Yeah, this was one for me. Did you know? I don't know if I ever told you this, Megan. I ate rice 3 times up until I was 47 years old, and I never even liked it.
I know. Yeah, I didn't eat much rice growing up in Pennsylvania either. And when I started living with host families here, at least, sometimes at breakfast too, but at least at lunch and dinner, you got a huge spoonful of rice. And when I tell Panamanians that I barely ate rice growing up, they say, "What did you eat then?" Like, they don't understand life without rice.
Half the plate is rice here if you go into a fonda.
Yeah.
Because now when I order, it was literally so much rice on my plate. It was every time I went, I still today eat at fondas. So now I know to say arroz blanco, medio por favor.
And yeah, half portion.
Half portion.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I hear this all the time. I always wondered what "oh" is.
Yeah, who or a holler when you're
Yeah.
going into somebody's house or property, or even if you just see them. Especially if you know each other pretty well. Yeah, you don't say like, "Hi, can I come in?" You just say, "Ow,"
Yeah,
and then you walk in. If they ow back, then you walk in.
yeah, exactly. Now, public transit, I never got a lot into it, but a lot of North Americans are used to the GPS app telling you within 30 seconds of when that bus is going to arrive at that stop, and then getting on, paying their fares in a nice, clean bus. What's it like here, Megan, to get
Yeah,
around the rural areas?
so
Like the
there are bus schedules, but it's not like you can go to one website and find all of the bus schedules. Depending on where you are, if you're going from a major city to a major city, you can find that information easily. But the bus routes in smaller towns, you have to find out by taking it or asking the people there how many times it passes, and sometimes every other route is a little bit different. Um, so the bus routes, if it's not a major route, you have to find out by asking around. But it's very easy. It's very reliable. It's very safe. It's very affordable. I took bus transportation all over the country by myself here, and you obviously need some Spanish if you're not exactly sure where you're going. But people will set you on the right way. They're very friendly and accommodating.
Now, this here I learned after I met Oscar that knocking is not customary. So it often be just turn around. There he was standing in my room. But are you supposed to wait for a response? Because he doesn't.
Not if your door's open.
Okay, yeah. Just come
No.
on in.
Yeah.
We
It's
all
true.
do it now. If the door is open, that means you're welcome in. Okay,
Yep.
now this one here is about the oh yeah, I found this really strange. People being called chinos and gordos and stuff like that. Explain that culture a little bit.
It's so funny. There is a name in Spanish, an actual word for everything. Like the person with one eye. Like
Yeah,
there is a word for that. And yeah, they call it as they see it, and maybe not in more like developed or larger cities. They're a little bit more politically correct, maybe, but like if you get out into smaller towns, that just it is what it is. I got called la fula, la gringa, la blanca, like just the white girl. That's just what I got called, and that's just how it was.
yeah. They call like it's very common to call a store owned by Chinese a chino, and they will call them, you know, el chino. So
Yeah, the tiendas, the shops here, the little like corner store, a lot of them are owned by Chinese,
yeah.
so they just call it. They don't call it the store. They call it the chino.
Now, what is my name for the bald guy, Megan? I think
I'm
I've
drawing
heard it.
a blank. I'm
Starts with
drawing a
a
blank.
C. Calvici or something like that.
Caldo.
Oh, Calda. There we go. See,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
This I get all the time, and it just I don't know. I'm not going to say it freaks me out, but I found it really strange. Even though I was raised Catholic, we don't talk like this back in Canada, and
Oh
they do
yeah,
it
you
all the
talk
time
about
here.
God all the time
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
the it's just an everyday language, like um God first or thanks to God is something that is said all the time. Like if you invite somebody over and they say, I'll be there, God willing. Well, God first is the direct translation, but God willing, I will make it there. Um, or thanks to God, I'm having a wonderful day, all is good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tortillas. I knew them as something different than what they serve here.
Yeah, they
Probably
are
because they
so
came
different.
from Mexican shops back in Vancouver. We didn't really have any Panama shops.
Yeah, we think of tortillas as like flour tortillas or
Mhm.
thin corn tortillas, but here they're like these thick corn cakes. per breakfast.
Pointing.
Yes, pointing with your lips, not your fingers.
I thought a lady was telling me off or something like that when that happened to me once.
Yeah, you think somebody's doing kissy lips at you or something.
You know, I don't know what she was doing, but and then someone said she's pointing. Really?
Yeah, it's
Finger.
so much easier than lifting your arm. Say, where's the thing? Over there. That's what they do. Oh, how to demonstrate how long something was.
Yes.
Yeah. Or how tall something is. Like, I would say, like, if I saw a snake, like I said here, I would say it was this big. And they would, like, look at me like, what do you mean? What was it this big? I don't know. Just a different way of showing the measurement.
When asking directions, you won't get specifics. Over
That's
there,
true.
oh yeah, before the mention point of the lips. Over there.
That's right. Yeah, that way. That way is the most common response you'll get.
Here's another ooh for annoyance.
Oh, ajo. Ajo translates to garlic, but it also just translates to being annoyed.
Oh, okay. Tell us about witches.
Yes, witches are real. Brujas, tulevieja. Yeah, a lot of people believe in that in Latin America in general. Or even if they don't, it's definitely stories that are passed down from generation to generation, usually to scare the kids into behaving.
That's why. The evil eye.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one that I think most people have never heard of, or unless you're really like get into some country towns here, you won't hear about. But a lot of Panamanians like believe in this evil eye, and it's called Ojea, and it's just only certain people can have the evil eye, and if they look at something too much, um, like say they're like looking at your garden and saying how lovely it is, and then all your plants die the next week, they have the evil eye. And that's why so many babies and puppies you will see with a red bracelet or necklace on or collar, and that's to protect from the evil eye. So if you see that, now you know.
There we go. Now this I found out after, like they, yeah, everything revolves around food and plants here. Like it's very big gifting. Like to give a plant is way better than giving a bottle of wine or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and fruits.
Yeah.
Fruits are one of the biggest gifts to give as well.
Even though they're growing on the tree in their backyards, they want more fruit. So give them fruits.
Uh-huh.
The superstitions.
Yeah, a lot of superstitions. As far as going from like cold to hot and not getting you sick. That's very Latin America wide. Um, that's why you see most in Latin America, they like room temperature water. Whereas in North America, we all want ice water. It's just not that common here because they think you'll get sick from drinking cold water all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that pretty much sums
What
that
is
up.
going outside after ironing? That's got to be a superstition, not a.
It has to do with the like hot to cold thing, like catching a cold breeze after sweating.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, so those were all the different cultural quirks that you found. Many of them aren't going to like. It's just noticing things are different that will get you in trouble. Now we're going to get into some of the more annoying things that Panamanians might find from us.
Yes. Yeah, greeting is a huge thing. When we have visitors, like my mom was here and somebody walked into the restaurant and said buenos dias to everybody in the restaurant. I answered back buenos dias. And she said, "How do you know him?" I said, "I don't. He said good morning, so I said good morning." And
Yeah.
that's how it is. And yeah, they'll think you're rude if you don't do that. Um, Not necessarily everywhere, everyone, but it is very common to greet people.
But you do it. Like
And
I do it all the time
nice.
now. And I forget who told me you're not greeting a person. You walk into the doctor's office and there's a bunch of people there. You greet the room.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not looking at anybody. And everyone says it back. And they really appreciate stuff like that. So it's very, you don't look like that gringo that, you know, they make you feel better like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, tacos are not Panamanian.
Yes.
I don't know where
That's
I
the
get that.
other end of Central America.
Yeah,
Mexico is very far from Panama.
Mexico. Even though, how many taco places do we have here now?
That's true. We didn't, when I first moved here, we didn't have one taco place in Boquete, and now we have like 4.
Yeah, they're nothing to do with I don't know. The Panamanians own them. Do you know of?
I know 2 of them are owned by Mexicans. But yeah, and that's just because of the expat and tourist influence here.
Mm-hmm. Don't offend the coffee ever, ever, ever. Like even like just don't do it in public. Just don't. Coffee is one of the biggest exports here, and don't offend it. Just enjoy it.
They're proud of their coffee.
Yeah, even if they made it bad or screwed it up on you, I've always known to, certain coffee shops I don't like here, but if I'm forced to go to them, I'll suck it up. Oh yeah, don't get offended if you get referred to by your ethnicity. Remember that is common here. Some of the things, and obviously in North America, Megan, we couldn't even say that they say here. So the way they might greet in a friendly way an African American person or something like that.
Right. Or even indigenous, there's a lot of words that are just used in a friendly manner here that don't translate well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And don't moving here. Okay, before I do this one, the biggest thing, I didn't put it here because everyone's going to realize this. And I knew this from the beginning that it would have been the biggest problem for me. The laid back life. You're really not important as you were back in North America. Okay. And I mean that to the person serving you typically. In a restaurant, in a government office, you're not the important one. They are, and their families are. And if their family calls them, they're going to pick up the phone and talk to them, even if you're standing there. So don't expect amazing customer service. It's, I don't know how to say that politely. Expand on that a bit, Megan.
Yeah, it's not, it's a new part of their economy here, as the tourist and service industry. It's not, Panama's a beautiful place to visit. It's so huge with expats, but you notice the tourism hasn't taken off like places like Costa Rica or even Mexico. So the service industry is still getting there. And Panamanians are not big tippers. So they're not working for tips the same way they do in North America. So yes, don't expect very fast or detailed service like you get there. Definitely at nicer places you will. But it's just a laid back lifestyle. Things, if it's not happening right now, they're we'll get to it.
Yeah, if the repair guy told you on WhatsApp the day before, I'll be at your house to fix your washing machine at 8 a.m. There's a 7 out of 10 chance that he ain't going to be there at 8 o'clock. It could be 9:30. It could be 1. And when he comes, he's not going to apologize. I'm here.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So just appointments like that just don't seem to matter. We led so much of a busybody life. That 1 hour, that 30 minutes was very important to me back when I was in Vancouver. I just learned to live with it. I use mostly Panamanian suppliers, to fix things. So if he tells me my dryer or washer guy is going to be here at 8 o'clock, I just make sure I have the morning in my home. If he comes at 10:30, I welcome him. Thank you for coming.
Exactly. Yeah, adjusting your expectations will allow you to be a lot happier here.
Yeah. Mhm. And then this one, so important, guys. Don't move here without knowing some Spanish words. I knew chew, I knew cerveza and baño. But the problem is, if we don't know how to put them into a sentence, there's not a lot you can do, especially with the second one. Because here, if you don't know Spanish, you find yourself using charades to get your point across. And using charades when you have to go to the bathroom is not publicly a good thing to do. So you need to know the sentence. So learn some words. So, by the way, whoever wants a slide deck, and feel free, because if you're putting it in a book and studying up, where's my contact? I'm putting the contact us link in the chat. Fill it in and ask for tonight's slide deck. Now, these are some basics. Just go through them with the right pronunciation, Megan, because I will totally bastardize them.
Sure. Buenos dias, good morning, buenas tardes, good afternoon, buenas noches, good evening, ¿cómo estás? How are you? Those are really the biggest ones. Hasta mañana, see you tomorrow. Hasta pronto, see you soon. Muy bien, very good. Delicioso is delicious. Also, another one they use for that often is sabroso. ¿Dónde está el baño? Where's the bathroom? ¿Me puede dar? May I have? Or can you give me?
Yeah, that's very important too, guys, is how polite you are when you order something. I used to just walk up to the counter and go, Cafe Negro. Don't do that, folks. Do not that's wrong. May puede dar, or you can say quisiera, like I would like.
Or even if you don't know all that, if you just say hi first.
Yes,
hi and please.
Yeah, say hi.
That's helpful.
Hey, buenos dias. Buenos dias. Cafe
Por
Negro.
favor.
Yeah. And if you say that, it'll make a world of difference and put a smile on their face.
Yes.
Next, La Cuenta, of course, the check, the bill.
Yeah, servieta, napkin, cubiertos are utensils.
Yeah. Now, know your numbers, guys. There's nothing wrong. Like, I know we're not, in school anymore, but if you can't learn your numbers from 1 to 100 before you move here, it's not that difficult. It's not difficult at all. It's all repetitive. There's actually only 10 numbers, 10 in the teens, and then 20, 30, 40, and then 8 more to learn. That's it. There's 28 things to learn. And then you repeat the, 1 through 9. So it's not like when I like right now, the numbers, I can say any number from 1 to a million basically without even thinking of it. So I learned my numbers and then learn to listen to them, because if every time you go shopping, I've seen expats here for several years, and they go shopping, they can't understand, especially if they don't have a till that's showing the screen. And the people get so frustrated when they're asking for $5.95. Yeah, and he can't understand cinco 95. Like, just learn your numbers in your everyday life.
Towns where they're used to it, they're used to this happening, so they'll typically write it down for you.
Yeah, they write it down or punch it on a calculator. But honestly, you will feel better about yourself and living here if you know everything on the sheet that we're showing you here and your numbers, because you'll feel like you're getting somewhere.
Yes, it's
true. How much does it cost? Of course, mucho gusto.
Yeah, por favor, gracias.
When you bump into somebody at the grocery store, like saying "excuse me," they don't know what you said. They might be thinking told you to get lost. Permiso.
Permiso. That's a big one.
And then when you're in a taxi, yelling stop, stop, stop is not going to make him stop.
Say aquí.
And be very careful when you do say aquí, because that means here now. And you might be getting off in the middle of a highway. Where you could say aquí and point over to the side of the road, and he'll pull you over there. Okay. And then turning right and left. Funny story. I couldn't say left. How do you say it, Megan?
Izquierda.
Izquierda. Correct.
Yeah.
I could never say that. So
Tongue
I knew
twister.
where I lived in downtown Panama City when I was first here. Taxi, really hard to explain. So I'll be telling the taxi driver, derecha, and then no derecha, and then he would turn left, derecha, no derecha, and then because I couldn't remember what the left was.
Well, it's tricky for a lot of people that derecha is right and derecho is straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
That
that's
can be
even confusing. Okay, so those are simple. If you knew just that, what is there, like 30 words in the number? You would be so much farther ahead than many expats that move here. So I got some questions coming in. The people, anyone on this chat that already lives here, please type. We want to hear from you what your biggest cultural challenge was. So don't be shy. So please type in live in the chat. And as we answering some questions here.
I saw a few interesting comments. Let me see in the chat if I can find.
Oh, that's before I go. Yeah. Los tres amigos these days. We are wonderful, John.
This one from Jason. Found out during our visit that this month that Mexican words are not Panamanian words.
Some of them are, eh?
Every Latin American country has unique Spanish.
Yeah.
Words will vary.
Okay, we had a lot of chatting in here. That's fine.
He also asked, do Panamanians use ¿qué tal? It's not as commonly used, but it's easily understood.
Yeah.
I will use it. Mm-hmm.
The guys at Melbourne use it with me sometimes.
Yeah. It's just not as common, but it's used. BJ said, ¿qué pasó is common. Yeah, that's true. ¿Qué pasó is what? It translates to what happened, but sometimes people will use it like, what's up?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But ¿qué pasa is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And ¿qué pasó would be the past, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what happened. I say that to my dog every time she's crying. ¿Qué pasó?
Brian and Maureen put lo siento. That's one that's not on the list. Just because I found that in Spanish class they taught me lo siento a lot to say sorry, but it's actually a more like deeper sorrow type of usage. So it's not that commonly used. Typically, if you're just trying to say like, sorry, I bumped into you or I said something wrong, you would just use like disculpa or perdón. Lo siento is more like, deeper type of sorry.
Okay, Megan's starting to give Spanish lessons every night.
That's right.
Okay, I'm scrolling down. Oh, where are our live people? Who's coming on to say what their biggest... Oh, my God, they're going to go here. Ellen, you coming on here? What was your biggest cultural challenge?
Yeah, any good stories for us or any questions, pop them in the chat. I think Spanish is something that people worry about so much before coming here. And
Mhm.
like we're saying, it's good to learn a few words, but you don't have to worry about knowing Spanish before you get here. I mean, Panamanians are very friendly and accommodating, and as long as you're trying and you're taking in some of the other cultural considerations we talked about, you'll get by just fine.
Yeah. Like as you guys, well, you guys know me. You don't all know. I've been here 13 years. I am not fluent in Spanish. I cannot have a conversation, but I've been away for the last 8 days in a lot of Ubers and in a lot, and I can have a conversation if the other person knows I don't speak a lot of Spanish, and I tell him to, use the verb to be, please, speak slowly, speak in present tense. I'll get it, and then I can have a somewhat of a conversation. So I know thousands of words. I do know my numbers because I'm a negotiator. Okay, perhaps disque play. Yes, I use that one too. Disque play is more of a you can use that if you bump into somebody too, and like, yeah, as opposed to what was I thinking I was going to
Lo
use?
siento.
No, the other one. Disque
Perdón?
play. Yeah, well,
Permiso?
yeah, permiso. Permiso is when you're trying to get by. It's when the two ladies are chatting up a storm in the aisle, and there's no way through. And I smile, permiso, gracias, and then they smile back. So, okay. Well, where'd you?
This one, this one from Angie that we didn't mention is the noise. That was hard for her. Fireworks, loud
Oh, there we
music
go.
on the
Yeah.
bus. Uh huh.
It is, folks. I live. I've chosen to live right downtown, and it's noisier downtown. We have a fair every January for 10 days, and I've been downtown now for 3 years, and I plan a holiday, and it's my time. I go away. Bring the house sitter to sit in the house and watch the dogs, and I go away. Sorry, dogs. They got to deal with the fireworks. So it is.
Yeah, and you can find a quieter neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, of
something you
Ultimate
learn when
Petty,
you're.
you don't hear the fair, you don't hear nothing. It's typically family noise then. So, but with family noise, that might be a 15th birthday party every few years. You might get some late night parties, but typically it's not that bad.
Are we taking any general questions tonight, Rod? I see some other ones coming
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
chat.
yeah. We'll take a couple as people are still talking. I still wanted to hear from some people that already live here. Be brave. Did I miss anybody? I want to hear anyone who lives here. Okay, I'm going to go a little further than that. Anyone who lives here or spends some time here to tell us what their number one, and to do this, you got to type live in the chat. Oh, there we go, Trish. Oh, there we go. Hi, Trish. Oops. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Trish, there we go. Invite. Okay, and what will happen? You get a pop up on your screen that we are inviting you to this into the studio. And once I see you there, we will bring you in. Yeah. So again, anyone who lives in Boquete or like part time or full time, doesn't matter, who wants to tell us what their cultural challenge was. Hey, Trish, we're going to bring you on the screen, okay? Hey,
Hey,
girl.
Trish.
Good to see you.
Only here is bad. I only do Zoom and during the day. This is the first time I've checked out the. Okay. I'm in the shadows. That's okay.
No,
We
no,
hear you. We
you're
see
here. You look
you.
great.
Okay.
So, cultural challenge since you've been here.
No street addresses.
No street.
How many times I've had to take pictures of the entrance to where I am, or have someone send me pictures So even with like the Google identifier, I need a photograph or something to find some place that I don't know. So that was a big adjustment for me. But just like everything here, you get used to it and it's wonderful. You know, it's no big deal.
I remember. Oh, lost feedback.
feedback.
Not me.
Not me.
Here, let me
Here,
try
let me try.
to stay on. Back in.
Back in.
Okay, yeah. Oh, there it is. I just muted you for 1 second, Trish. Yeah, when I first moved here, I was trying to furnish that place in Alta Boquete, and go to Do It Center, go to the places in David, and tell them where I lived, and no one could find it. Then you're on the phone with a Spanish person trying to give directions to your house, and he's not even in the same neighborhood. So it is frustrating, isn't it? Okay, you're back.
I was giving, I forget who it was, somebody, and they wanted, you know, my address. And so we ended up White House, White Casita. You know, that was the description of where I live, you know.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much for sharing with us tonight,
Good
Troy.
night, Troy.
Good to see you all. And we'll be talking.
We'll see you soon. Thanks.
A little bit of feedback there. Okay. Hey, let's do a couple questions here. Oh, here we go. Angie says yes, the noise. There's a general. Greg, let me tell you, honestly, I know people, including myself, I have in the past. You can live in Boquete for $1,500 a month. Sorry, you can live in Panama for $1,500 a month, or you can live in Panama for $10,000 a month. I know people that live at both ranges. So depending, you couldn't live in the city for $1,500 a month. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was with a friend on my little holidays, and we drove past his first house in apartment in Panama City, and it still rents for $600. Now remember, it was special, but it was in a safe neighborhood. But it just wasn't what most North Americans would consider a decent place to live. So there's really cost of living anywhere in that range. Great. What do you think, Megan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I lived on $500 a month when I was in the Peace Corps, but it was in the middle of nowhere. And
I remember your first
tiny
place
little
when
house.
Oscar took me out when you guys first met, and you were living out in the woods in Dolega, and you had this. We're kind of a big place. It was like a 3-bedroom. It was $90 a month.
Yeah, it was a 2-bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, it was $90 a month. That's right.
And it was special.
Yes. Quirky.
Quirky, yeah, very quirky. Here's a good question. Everyone hears about this. I'm only bringing this one up, especially that there's an announcement made this week. Right now, so we're getting high-speed rail all the way from Tucumán Airport to the Costa Rican border. But it's not just us, folks. There's 9 other countries also considering it throughout South America and Central America, that within 10 years, there could be a high-speed rail. And these are 180 to 200 kilometer rails going from Chile all the way to Mexico. Now, Panama's the first. They are the leader in this. They've done the environmental stuff for 3 years. Now it's in a planning. They hired a U.S. company to do the initial scope of project planning, and that's going to be 4 months. And the president announced this week that they could start construction by the end of this year. It's going to be a 5-year project here. So that's going to be it, folks. It's going to be David to Panama, downtown in 2.5 hours by rail, and nice, fancy, modern, European style 200 kilometer an hour rail cars.
And actually all the way to the Costa Rican border, I believe, too.
Yeah, it's going to go all the way to Costa Rica, which would be great for tourism and stuff like that. Okay. Oh, Uber's taxi. Well, if you hire an Uber, it's going to show on your screen where they are. They can't lie, or they'll lose their job as an Uber if they go for coffee or a nap on their way to get you. If it says he is 5 minutes away, he should be there in 5 to 7 minutes. So. Oh, yeah.
Yes, the accents are different in every country.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Okay, we don't want to get too general here. Lots of opportunity. Do you want to know? Oscar would have been yelling by now. No, stay away
Yeah.
from the majority of it in a general sense. But there is some, we know some projects that are pretty cool. But we've had people on our tour point out the van window. Hey, look, that's our air that we bought 7 years ago up there. And they still they put deposits down on stuff that hasn't even built.
Yeah, make sure it's a really well-known, reliable builder, for sure.
Yeah. Stephanie, is there any smell? All the ocean smells, sorry to say it. Certain times of the year, there's going to be a lot of seaweeds and stuff like that. And at low tide, slack, it's just like it smells like sewage. It really isn't. Now, most of the sewage problem Panama had 10 years ago when they were dumping live sewage is all cleared up now. So it's not a lot of live sewage going into the ocean, but you still are going to get those extreme ocean smells if you're living by the ocean, especially in a climate that's in the 90s, because that's seaweed and stuff really gets a little bit rampant.
And it rotates. It depends on the time of year. It's kind of, but like Rod said, most coastal towns can be like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Mike, I'm not going to get specific into the type of. If you're looking for a GCM monitor, you can just order that off Amazon. They'll be here in 3 or 4 days, and pumps. If you're looking for the actual medicine, like the actual prescription and stuff like that, we're going to need to know a little bit more. A great place to go is a website called Pharma Value, FARMA Value, VALUE.com. They actually spell it like that, Megan. It's kind of weird. The Spanish pharma and the English value. And you can search for the medication names on there to see what's available here and how much it costs. But you don't see, we don't have, Panama's not as sophisticated with everything from, you don't, the average home that someone with blood pressure is not going to have a blood pressure monitor. Or even with diabetes, is not going to have all these fancy electronic things North America has. But there's no problem bringing them into the country. Megan, do we get mail at all? No, they can't.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so most people use mail forwarding services here because the international post offices are just very slow and not as timely and reliable. So Mailboxes, etc., is one of the largest international mail forwarders. We have those offices all over Panama, and then there's a lot of smaller ones too. Basically, you'll get a address in Florida, and then you'll pay on the weight of the item to get it from Florida to your town in Panama.
Jason, I noticed that the houses in Boquete have gates and bars on the doors and windows. Is this needed in the country areas? Yes, it is. If you want to keep your windows and doors open at night and not get large animals in there. Typically, they call them security bars. They were back in the 70s, well, more 80s, 90s. They're more of a status symbol in Panama but the thing is, if every house on the block has security bars except one, guess which house will be robbed? The one with that. Okay. But they're also designed for Here in Boquete, I have security bars. I also have screens on my windows, but my windows are typically never closed all year round. Now, there are big possums and other large animals that would eat right through my screens if they had a chance. But since my security bars are tight up to the window, well, within 2 inches, they can't get in there and maneuver and eat away at my screens to get in to eat my garbage when I'm sleeping. So a lot of that reason was to keep the animals out and leave ventilation. Even the people leave the front doors wide open all night with the security bar closed.
Yeah, it's not like there's high crime. Like Panama's a very safe place, but it's just about prevention and not making yourself the target. Like, do what your neighbors do. And actually, there's a company called Fuertec that they make screens. They're like steel screens
Yeah, that
with
the
flat
animals can't
bars,
get,
and they're really
or where
nice
people
looking.
can't get in. Yeah.
Yeah, because some North Americans, they just don't like the look of the bars, but there are other options.
But like I said, the bars, I live in a middle class Panamanian neighborhood, and many of the bars are designed like they have leaves and flowers, and they're all pretty.
Yeah.
They were a sign of status, and they matched the fencing going around the house. So, mhm. Okay, I'm going to answer a question very briefly, and it will not get a second answer, so don't bother even commenting on it. No, we do not believe the U.S. is going to take control of the Panama Canal. We believe it's Panama's a sovereign territory, and so do the other 100 and some countries that use it on a daily basis. So, that being said, there's no animosity towards U.S. folks here because of it. The U.S. operated the canal for 86 years, folks. It's not, and so maybe the new president wants to start negotiation on something. That's one way to do it. One thing I'm happy to hear, and just rumors that the U.S. could be working with Panama on the Darien border. And that's something where the U.S. and Panama could work good together. We have hundreds of thousands of migrants every year coming from South America, passing through Panama on their way to the States, and they could go and they're getting in through this Darien jungle. And Panama doesn't have the resources nor the men or manpower to monitor the entire border. So there was some chatter that the U.S. and Panama could make a deal on that. So no, we're not concerned anything about the canal. We're not concerned that someone's going to, bomb us or Greenland or anything like that. So that's what we're saying.
And the Panamanian people and government feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm going to join all the healthcare questions I can see because we're going to wind this up since no one else wants to talk to us. Good crowd here tonight, guys, though. So this one deserves it. Can you tell us about healthcare plans?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need healthcare for day-to-day living. I have, I'm still young. Yeah, I turned 60 this year, and my healthcare is very affordable. And I can submit my doctor's bills. I don't. I just choose to go to a local doctor. It's $15. So I don't take any prescription, so I don't need all that. But I am 100% covered. Anything happens for any amount of money for anything. And I'm quite happy. And I pay around $250 a month. Now, if I was 70 years old, I would be paying close to $400 a month. And I will be when I am 70, and I'm prepared for it because I base my lifestyle here based on what I'm going to have to pay for healthcare because I don't want to worry about that. I don't want to use the public system here. I'm sorry, I don't. And when something happens to me, I don't want to be the one, well, Oscar and Megan would have to do it, to start my GoFundMe to pay my medical bills. I don't want to be that guy. I can cover it myself in excellent healthcare for up to, $400 a month. So I have pensions coming when I'm 65, when I'm 68. One of them is dedicated just for that expensive healthcare I'm going to have to pay in my 70s. And you know how to make the difference, guys? And we've done this with many of our guests. We had a guest in September looking at a rental, $1,800 a month. Like that was their budget. They had lots of money for a rental. And so we got together. Okay, what are you doing for healthcare? No, we decided to self-insure because everyone says that's a good thing. So I sat down with them and told them how bad of an idea that was. And I found them basically an identical rental, a little bit smaller. They're very happy in it for $600 less a month. Now they can afford healthcare. That's what it is. It's all based on what's important to you. If healthcare is not important to you, then you probably won't buy it. But heck, you've all paid fire insurance for 30, 40 years. Do you expect to get that money back because your house didn't burn down? You won't.
And there are some more affordable plans too. I mean, you could do just catastrophic plan or just a local plan versus international. You really have to talk to somebody about what's going to be the best option for you. And we can recommend you to a broker if you are already here in Panama getting your residency and need someone. Oh, Susan, can you reflect on machismo? Will a progressive female be offended? Do you speak Spanish? I mean, if you don't understand what anyone's saying, you won't be offended. But no, I mean, like typically they're not. Like local guys aren't going to say anything to a foreign woman. The most you might get is like what they call like piropos, where they'll just be like, hey, like on the street just to like get your attention or something because you're a foreigner, you're pretty or something like that. But I wouldn't say like you would be just offended by the male culture here at all. Typically Panamanians are a little bit more reserved. And it really depends on the people too. Like there are progressive Panamanians and then there are, there's still some backwards machismo things that you'll see.
It is a little bit of a chauvinistic language still. And how, as far as you got chico and chicas, boys and girls. But if there's a group of boys and girls, it's chicos. So, that's why I'm calling it chauvinistic. They always use the male for when there's multiple. But what do you think of the chauvinism, Megan, that is in the Panamanian family? It's like compared to back in the U.S.
I don't know. I think it's definitely more common for the man to be out working and the women to be taking care of the kids and that sort of thing, but it's definitely modernizing. Like you see a lot of couples that they're both working and that's normal. But also you do see, especially in smaller towns where like it's only appropriate for the guy to go out on the weekends and hang out with his friends or something like that. But it's really kind of a case by case basis, and it's in like larger towns or cities with more foreign influence or larger like Panama City, it's very modern. So it depends where you go.
Perfect. Okay, guys. We have gone over time, but that was our talk on culture. And my advice is just learn and embrace it. Megan, what is your one sentence?
I love that. I would say be kind, don't overthink it, and enjoy.
Learn, ask, go to our website, retiringpanamatourist.com, click on contact, see if you want the pitch deck, and study it and learn that before you come, and you'll be starting leaps and bounds ahead of other expats that come here. All right, folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. And the three of us will be on next week. The three of us. Our schedule allows that, right? Next week for
That's right.
Live end of the month. Ask anything. Hey, we got one question from Bob. I forgot we got Bob.
On.
It's Bob. Bob, how are you again?
Hey, I'm well. It's not a question. It's Megan. Go Eagles.
Go
Go
Eagles!
Eagles! How are you doing, Bob?
Love
How's
it.
life treating you? When are you moving here?
No, it's not a question. It's make it go Eagles.
So, so all I can tell everybody on the stream is these guys are the best. We were down there and they are the best. You need to do the tour.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How do
We
I
appreciate it.
You guys are the best. We were down there and they are the best. You need to do the tour.
We got a lot of feedback here. Bob was on our guest, guys, as was on our tour, and we're just ending with that. Come on our tour. We have a new opening in May, folks. So the next opening is one in May, one in June. So then we're sold out again this half year. Well, Megan, thanks a lot, and great show.
Good night, everybody. Great
Good
questions.
night, everybody, and we will talk soon. Bye
See you
bye.
next week.